Today's America's Cup Racing is brought to you from Auckland, New Zealand.
What is it about a one-on-one? Mano a mano. Dog eat dog. There's a purity about it. One winner, one loser. It's beautiful. Win or lose. All or nothing. Me or you. That's how it's always been on the America's Cup.
The America's Cup is now New Zealand's cup.
It's binary. It's brutal. It's addictive. For more than a century and a half, it's besotted some of the world's most powerful men. Giants of business. Winners by definition. And now, for the 36th time, here we are. Again. One defender trying to keep hold of the trophy. Three enemies at the gate. One will become their challenger. To earn the right to enter the ring, first they have to win the Prada Cup. There's been a qualifying series for over 50 years. 5 weeks of one-on-one racing. 3 teams at war. One will prevail. Only the best get a shot at the big time. So who's the favourite? Right now we don't know, but we're about to find out. The journey to the 36th America's Cup starts now.
Kia ora and welcome to Aotearoa, New Zealand, affectionately known around the world as the land of the long white cloud. A young nation of 5 million, proud of its cultural diversity and surrounded by spectacular natural beauty. Stunning fjords, rugged mountains, lush forests, geothermal landscapes, and 16,000 kilometres of coastline, which is why there is such a connection to Moana, the ocean. Auckland, New Zealand is proud to be home to the 36th America's Cup. We begin the Cup journey with the America's Cup World Series. 3 days of double round-robin match racing. That's 12 races in 72 hours. At the completion, all 4 teams will be seeded for the Prada America's Cup Christmas race. First out of the gate, it's the defenders, Emirates Team New Zealand, taking on the challenger of record, Luna Rossa Prada Pirelli team. Let's go racing, everybody.
My rake, my drop. Crossing.
Prada probably a little bit behind, fearing that they were going to be in bad air, in that kind of that wing wash. Pretty soon we're going to see split tacks back and forth, back and forth. Is this going to be a match race or is this going to be a drag race?
All good. Let's get onto the water. Early thoughts, Shirley, of what you're seeing.
Stephen, to me the Kiwis look like they've done very well on that left-hand side.
Come down 3.
Emirates Team New Zealand approaching the top gate for the first time, and they are flying. And when you talk about crowd, well, in this part of the world we call it a home ground advantage, but look at the crowd in the viaduct. Emirates Team New Zealand in a commanding position as they approach the bottom mark for the first time. They jibe around that and head up, and that's the completion of lap number 1 of 3.
It'll be one of them left at the moment. Copy.
You can imagine Peter Burling looking across saying, "Arrivederci, boys."
Trying to take height. We're coming in reasonably full, I think.
But didn't look like Team New Zealand were doing anything special in terms of picking great shifts. It just looks like their boat's going very fast.
3, 2, 1.
You can hear the voice of Jimmy Spittle as that starboard foil goes down.
You could see that tack was not going to be a good one before it even started.
Emirates Team New Zealand coming to the finish at the end of race 1 of the America's Cup World Series, and they do it in style. Peter Burling, how satisfying was that?
Yeah, I think it's, you know, like you said on the broadcast just before, a pretty amazing day to be out here and actually racing. And, you know, for nearly all of us, it's been, you know, a long time since we raced. And I think it's been incredible, you know, seeing how many Kiwis have come out as well. You know, like when we pictured this race course all those years ago and, you know, what it could look like with all the boats around, it's, you know, just amazing to see it actually as a reality.
Thanks for your time, Peter. Appreciate it. Congratulations. See you back out on the water a little later.
Thanks, mate. Talk soon.
Luna Rossa, Prada Pirelli, the challenger of record. Yeah. Finally coming to the finish line. It's only race 1, but gee, the Kiwis were quick. Hey, Jimmy, 3 minutes and 13 behind. What do you make of that race?
Yeah, look, Team New Zealand did a great job there. Not too many mistakes. Unfortunately, we lost our starting software during the start, lost all the numbers, but to be quite honest, they were just much sharper turning the corners, so full credit to them.
Race 2, and the originals, the two nations that started it all 170 years ago. Yep, the New York Yacht Club's American Magic takes on the Royal Yacht Squadron's Ineos Team UK.
And the start is underway.
Nathan, the edge of this race course comes up really fast.
Yeah, you're hitting this boundary within 30, 40 seconds of the gun.
Say again, umpire, clear.
So let's just confirm what that penalty was. Let's go to Chief Umpire Richard Slater.
We actually had 2 penalties. Ineos was outside the boundary 2 minutes before the start. And the second penalty was they meant to come in from above the line and cross the start line, and they failed to do so.
American Magic approaching the top gate for the first time. Ineos, Team UK. This is a classic yacht race, but they are trailing.
We have a problem on board Ineos, by the way. Okay, here's a replay. Oh boy, here's the problem. Something mechanical.
So the rudder just sort of lost grip in the middle of that triangle. Rudder's just completely locked out here.
Okay, bow's coming down here in 3, 2, 1, bow coming down.
Patriot doing the job on Britannia. They are in complete control of this second race.
Yeah, no question at all that they're fast. You know, we know they're going quick through the water. And from what we've seen in this race, their maneuvers are slick as well.
The question we have to ask, though, with what has gone on with Ineos Team UK, they are supposed to back up for race number 3. American Magic crossing the line in race 2 of the America's Cup World Series, and it's a strong performance from Patriot. Ben Ainsley and Ineos Team UK finally make it to the finish in race 2. They had a gear issue with their rudder early on in the piece, but they have mounted the challenge again and are back. American Magic gets the number, and it's a flat 5-minute win over Ineos Team UK. 5 minutes over Ineos Team UK. The battle is well and truly on.
The Prada 36th America's Cup World Series has begun, and the focus is on Ineos Team UK and Luna Rossa Prada Pirelli. Two teams desperate for their first point.
And there they go straight into it. Leeward, tacking to leeward. Ineos straight off the foils. I expect a full park up here. Jimmy Spittle's very aggressive in the starts and just shuts the race down.
There's definitely a flag here, though. UK would be thinking that these guys tack too close. This is going to be fascinating to see.
Protest said no penalty, Italy.
Wow, amazing.
This is the umpires. Italy, GBR, windward boat failing to keep clear.
There you go. Umpires think there was contact, penalty, GBR. Both boats late for the start.
What a turn of events.
Penalty clear, penalty clear.
Strong arm tactics by Jimmy Spittle and Francesco Bruni, the twin helmsmen on Luna Rossa, to start out race 3, and they are away. Shirley Robinson on water. That was a hell of a start. It was all looking so good for a moment there for Ineos Team UK.
Oh, it was good to see a battle, wasn't it? And I'll tell you, Jimmy Spittle's elbows are always out permanently. We're at the top mark. I don't know, I hope you've seen the pictures. And Luna Rossa Prada out to go round.
I think the reason why they could be struggling is it's really puffy up there. You know, the wind is coming off the land, and it makes the boat incredibly hard to sail. You can see here, they're running out of pressure. They really need to get this jibe before they go out of bounds.
Still got no board down on this side.
Chase Paul's coming in.
Yeah.
Okay, they're out. So something's happened again with Ineos.
Yeah, got this yacht, so race committee, Ineos Team UK, we're having to retire from this race. Thanks.
Luna Rossa Prada Pirelli, the challenger of record in the 3rd race of this America's Cup World Series on day number 1, conclude their race.
Well, we've been having issues all day with our foil can system and batteries, so it's been a challenge for us, to be honest, just to sail the boat. And unfortunately, the whole thing shut down in that last race. We couldn't lift or drop our boards, and so we had to pull out. So it's a real shame. You know, these boats are so technical that you go through periods where it just shuts down on you, and it's a tough position to be in.
Next up, 2 teams keen to defend their winning record. It's Emirates Team New Zealand against American Magic.
That was a great start by American Magic. I thought at one moment there they were going to get locked out, but Dean Barker owned that.
Good riding on us here.
American Magic approaching the top gate for the first time. Look at the work that Dean Barker is doing on that wheel, hanging on for dear life as Emirates Team New Zealand now head into that top gate. And around they go, and they are the chaser.
Almost your angle there.
Both teams look exceptionally smooth. This is a really hard maneuver. Round the mark and go right into attack. Really hard maneuver, Nathan, and sure enough, it did not go well.
This is something we've not seen before. In all the practice training, practice races that we've been looking at in Auckland, they haven't been doing this.
Emirates Team New Zealand are coming towards the left mark in the top gate, and it's 25+ seconds behind American Magic.
They're not getting further behind right now, Nathan. This is a bit of a comeback with the Kiwi.
Top gate for the last time, watching closely, left mark.
They got it. They got the inside overlap, and they're not going to, they have no reason to bear off until they want to. Wow, one bad tack by the Americans.
Emirates Team New Zealand take the lead in both protests.
You're kidding me, Archie. Dean Barker just went one boat length too far. If he had just tacked that one boat length earlier.
This is the umpires. Penalty USA, but cleared. Penalty USA, but cleared.
And now Team New Zealand do a bad job out of all of that.
Emirates Team New Zealand got the inside running on the left-hand mark and then just gave it away. So it's American Magic get the win of the Battle of the Heavyweights on day 1. Gotta say, Pete, great race.
Yeah, we definitely, you know, didn't make life easy for ourselves on that one. We kind of, you know, had a little bit of an issue before the start and then kind of compounded into trying a few too many, I suppose, tricky manoeuvres on my behalf. But no, it was great to see, you know, what the boat could do, and, you know, to be able to make that many mistakes and still be in the race is, you know, pretty pleasing for the weeks ahead.
All right, Pete, thanks for your time. Look forward to seeing you on the water tomorrow, race number 2 on day 2.
Eddie, thanks, mate. Cheers.
American Magic takes the lead after day 1, and the world gets its first taste of Formula 1 on water. But there's plenty more to come after the break. Day 2 of the Prada 36th America's Cup World Series. Intrigue, drama, controversy. Welcome to day 2 of the Prada 36th America's Cup World Series.
Wow, one bad tack by the Americans.
Emirates Team New Zealand take the lead in both protests.
was amazing to see how many Kiwis got out there to watch it. It seemed like the whole course was surrounded by boats.
The second start made my day. We did a very good move there.
There's passion and pride.
Jimmy Spittle's very aggressive in the starts and just shuts the race down.
There's definitely a flag here, though.
So it's American Magic get the win of the Battle of the Heavyweights on day one.
You like to come off the racetrack with wins, so that's why we're here.
Frustration and fury.
It was a really tough day for the team. We were way off the pace in terms of being able to control the boat. It's a frustrating day.
Can you send us the software of how it was designed, and then we can work out what the problem is?
It's day two and there's plenty of emotion out there. Looking at the leaderboard, Ineos Team UK are the only team not to bag a point. American Magic produced 2 brilliant runs to take the maximum 2, while Emirates Team New Zealand and Luna Rossa Prada Pirelli team managed 1 win apiece. First up, it's Luna Rossa Prada Pirelli team against American Magic.
We've seen our first mistake of the day here, Nathan. It looked like Luna Rossa was really late in their setup, and now they're almost in a dial-up situation right now.
Yeah, Kenny, you can already see the red light flashing on the boat. That they're going to get a penalty because they were inside that starting box before entry.
This is the umpires. Italy, you do have a penalty. You do have a penalty for early entry.
You heard Dean Barker call and turning, aiming up to the start line for race 5 of this America's Cup World Series. And they are away and racing on day 2.
Luna Rossa still have the penalty. They've got to get 50 metres behind the other boat. One of the things with these boats is that if you drop off the foils, the boat slows aggressively and takes a very long time to get going. As we see American Magic having a really bad tack here.
Wow. Moment of holding your breath for American Magic. You heard Dean Barker say, over, and they haven't gone over, but wow, how about that? Didn't see that one coming.
Very unstable. Here comes a replay. And
to me, it looks like the windward board's not lifting up here quick enough. Not only is it an issue, it tips the boat over. It's lifting all the time.
Creates lift.
Believe it or not, how quickly did American Magic turn up at that gate as well?
These guys practice and train for this. And what we see here right now is it looks like American Magic to leeward, but maybe sailing a little high, starting to close the gauge a bit.
Luna Rossa Prada Pirelli flies into the top gate.
Some big wind shifts out there, Shirley.
Massive, Kenny, and I think the Italians were in phase that entire beat and just sailed smart and sailed clean. They are motoring down in this final leg of the race.
Here comes Luna Rossa Prada Pirelli. Huge result for them. American Magic, considering that they almost tipped the boat, that's a hell of a result. Dean, crazy race. Can you tell us what happened with your foil cant arm?
Yeah, well, you know, it was a bit frustrating, to be honest. We, you know, these boats, you know, pretty difficult at times. You know, you're never quite sure what the issue is, but yeah, if in doubt, blame the boat.
Cracking race, good to watch. We'll see you again on the water later on.
Okay, coming on the breeze, line 4 down.
The second race of the day, and it's Ineos Team UK against the defenders, Emirates Team New Zealand.
Ineos Team UK have a big decision here to either work out, are they going to try and sail them into Coffin Corner, hold them out, or if they're going to just go on their own time on distance with about 15 seconds to go now.
Here comes a port tack start, a dip. Could be a dial down at the same time. 80 knot closing speeds. Now they're past the ley line. Should he have dialed down there or just go up? That ultra aggressive move by Ainsley might have cost him.
48, happy to come up when you've got speed.
Ben Ainsley went really aggressive on the dial down there, and I think he kind of blew it.
He's got below, every press.
That was a nice looking tack, wasn't it?
The good news is if you're a British fan, you got a race boat at least right now.
Good breeze around here. 4, 3, no lower, no lower, no lower. 2,
oh, Oh, you heard the call. They were very close to that marker. They had to pull out. How? Wow.
Well, you can't see anything.
That could have been carnage.
He can't see anything.
I've been pretty close to those marks, Steve, and you would not want to hit them. They are hard. They are solid. I'm watching the Kiwis now just extending away.
Staying high a little bit so we get a tight turn.
My wheel.
You can hear the voice of Sir Ben Ainsley, their skipper.
Bearing away in
If you're Ben Ainsley right now,
I'm happy.
You're very happy, aren't you?
Okay,
Your boat's functioning. This is really the first time we've seen them do proper racing around a racetrack in the last week.
And 3, 2, 1.
Then there's a lousy jive.
Emirates Team New Zealand dumping just before the bottom gate. Oh, yes! Put your hands up to your face. Why wouldn't you? They're round the bottom gate, but another mistake. This is not smooth. It was smooth up onto that point.
I guess the most impressive thing about that is how quickly they got going again.
Yes, this is it. The finish of race number 6, and it will be a comfortable win to Emirates Team New Zealand, the defender in this 36th America's Cup.
Hold on, boys.
ENEOS Team UK finally get across the finish line in race 6.
Obviously, a click off the pace with the Kiwis, which is where we expect it to be at the moment. Unfortunately, we want to be quicker, but just to click off those guys. But other than that, it was a solid race, and the guys did a really good job.
The America's Cup World Series. It's an opportunity for each and every team to size up the competition. Going toe-to-toe for the first time is American Magic against Luna Rossa Prada Pirelli team.
Port entry for American Magic in race 7 of this America's Cup World Series. They're allowed in at 2 minutes and seconds here. They come in quite nicely, but whoa!
Here we go again.
Here.
Here, I was just about to say we might actually have good timing. Prada just came in 3 seconds early to my eye, and we'll have to see what Richard Slater has to say.
This is the umpires. Italy penalty early entry. Second incident, green flag, no penalty.
Well, you could try to go after him and get a penalty.
He's trying to get the offset right now. He's trying to offset his penalty so he can actually win this start. Otherwise, he's just going to have to let Dean sail away here. So, plenty of action coming up here, ladies and gentlemen.
Protest here. What's the boundary?
He might have just done it.
Well, he's off the foil, though, so he might have offset the penalty, but if he's not foiling...
There you go. Penalty. They offset the penalty. Now can he get back up on the foil? And he's vulnerable at a windward leeward again, at a barge at the weather end.
Dean's got him here on toast.
Take him up here, taking him up. Working it up, working up. Hey!
No protest here.
This is the umpires. Penalty Italy, penalty Italy, penalty clear.
Full of action. That was match racing.
You know, it's a fine line between trying to draw the penalty or offset the penalty and still having the boat on the foils. You see how long it takes these boats to get up and going again.
Up to the top gate for the first time. It's an American Magic. After a rough and tumble start, they will...
And a port starboard coming here right now, so they have to turn slowly because Prada is on starboard tack coming back upwind.
You think about matching him over here, you know?
Yeah, I agree.
American Magic through the bottom gate.
There's that maneuver that Emirates Team New Zealand failed to pull off yesterday, that loop around the leeward gate and roll right into attack. They actually pulled it off pretty nicely. You know, you don't stay this close if you're off the pace. These are two pretty darn even boats right now.
Still American Magic weaving their magic on the Waitemata Harbour this afternoon against Luna Rossa Prada Pirelli.
I think the Americans seem to be able to go the same speed but able to go slightly lower angles, which means they end up just doing less distance, and that's where I think they're making these gains downwind.
Yes, it's another good day for American Magic. The spoils are split.
quite a lot going on as per normal, you know, what we've been practicing. But, you know, in saying that, it's, you know, it's nice to sort of, you know, have a bit of variation. You know, this is sort of all about learning for the Prada Cup. And, yeah, nice to sort of learn these lessons now.
The last and final race of the day was a rematch between Emirates Team New Zealand and Ineos Team UK, who were still searching for their first point.
Fascinating that the boats are this interactive. They're absolutely going at each other.
Bad jibe there from Emirates Team New Zealand. They're a sitting duck right now. If Ben can get the pace on it and attack him, could be a good lead here for Ineos Team UK.
4 seconds to go, and they are in the box seat. Ineos Team UK with their best start of the regatta so far, and they are away.
There's a feather in the cap of Ineos Team UK, outmaneuvering the Kiwis. We haven't said that very often.
I think, Stephen, what we're also going to learn is how much of an advantage it is to be in front. You know, if Ben Ainsley's out in front, he's got fresh air. There's no pressure on him right now.
Yeah.
And we have a lead change.
Okay, let us run this out all the way.
Two boats going 40 knots. Yep.
Just working hard for BMGs. Yeah, I think we want to make sure we lay though, Joe. Yeah, copy. Tactically, it's going to be a big game.
Going behind, says Burling. There you go, another lead change.
So if Ineos lay in here, they've taken the lead back and are going to lead around the bottom mark. It's not over.
You heard Glenn on Emirates Team New Zealand say they're not there yet. They think that Ineos is going to struggle to get down to this mark.
Which flips the coin again in Team New Zealand. On starboard tack, Ineos Team UK going to jibe, but they'll have the inside of the right-hand mark coming down to the bottom mark here.
This is
going to be a hard manoeuvre.
Yeah, going behind him and going to the left mark. Copy.
Another lead change. They just couldn't do that maneuver. Jibe twice.
Emirates Team New Zealand rounding the bottom gate ahead of Ineos Team UK, but it's only by mere seconds. Just the four. Emirates Team New Zealand at the top gate, in control of this race at this point. They'll take that right-hand marker as you see it. Emirates Team New Zealand get double delight today. They are 2 from 2 against Ineos UK and make it 3 wins.
You know, we obviously learned a lot in those couple of races, and I definitely didn't sail as clean as we did in that first one yesterday, but you know, it's just good learning for us. Good to be out here, kind of running through all the systems and trying to get everything working 100%.
It was a much better day for us. You know, the boat was working much better, and guys did a pretty good job sailing the boat clean. Obviously, was struggling a little bit still for pace. Well, quite a lot for pace. More so in the lighter airs. So, you know, we've got a lot of thinking to do about how we can get more speed out of this boat.
So the lesson of the day. One mistake is all it takes to wipe the smile from the dial. Coming up after the break, day 3. Who will be crowned World Series champions?
We're racing, right?
And they are away and racing.
It's day 3 of the Prada 36th America's Cup World Series.
We've waited for 2 years to get out there and face off against these other guys properly.
For some, it's been more of a learning cliff than curve.
One mistake turned into hundreds and hundreds of costly, hard-earned meters.
Right turn at the top.
The good news is if you're a British fan, you got a race boat at least right now.
It was fun today. We had much more control of the boat. We knew, obviously, going up against the Kiwis, they're going to be super fast.
The margins are quite small on these boats.
Oh, you heard the call. They were very close to that marker.
Everyone is pushing it quite hard.
Hey! We're racing, right?
Go, boys, go.
Well, Dean's quite a bit older than me, so when he says old school, I don't think he was mentioning me. Maybe he was just talking about himself.
So day 3 in the battle for the number 1 seeding is going down to the wire. Both Emirates Team New Zealand and American Magic are even. Luna Rossa has a 50% record going into this critical day, while Ineos Team UK will have to settle for 4th. First to get underway on day 3, Luna Rossa Prada Pirelli against Ineos Team UK.
And they are away in race number 9. Strong starts by both Britannia and Luna Rossa.
Both of the time and distances to that starting line were exceptional in that start.
Right now, you've got Luna Rossa to windward with the starboard tack advantage over Ineos Team UK. When they come out of this boundary, I expect Luna Rossa's going to do straight into a face tack here and really shut the race down. And there you have it, straight on top of them. But maybe a touch too late. Ineos looked like they might sneak through to Lewis.
I thought it was a pretty impressive start from the Italians. To me, they look like they have the edge.
Too much command straight out.
Yacht.
Go.
Nice smooth rounding that one, wasn't it, Stephen?
It was almost flawless when you're looking at Francesco Bruni on that leeward side of the boat. Just you're like staring around, boys. Let's go, hey?
I think it's the manoeuvring and perhaps the angles that is really making the difference between these boats at the moment.
A little bit, boys. Stand by.
Oh boy! Oh, splash down by Ineos Team UK.
They
Splash
lost their
down.
rudder there, didn't they?
They did. Yeah.
I heard Ben say that.
Okay, your wheel.
It's painful, isn't it, watching Ineos? I mean, something's just not right, whether it's hardware or the software mapping or what, but particularly in the maneuvers, they lose so much speed.
Luna Rossa Prada Pirelli wins race number 9 of the Prada America's Cup World Series, and will be, let's be blunt, an enormous margin as they cross the finish line on the Waitemata Harbour. And the fans, you can understand, are overjoyed.
With the numbers not over.
Next up, it's the 2 top dogs. Emirates Team New Zealand against American Magic.
Emirates Team New Zealand are away, as are American Magic.
Here's a big one, Nathan. These big split starts, right? All the way to the weather end, to the right-hand end of the starting line, all the way to the left-hand end of the starting line. The boundary protection doesn't really help you here, right? So you're going to have to, you tack, and you're going to have to make a move. So they can either cross or they're going to have to duck. They don't get that boundary protection.
I'm excited for this cross, Nathan. It looks close.
And I guarantee you they get tacked on, because the aggression of Terry Hutchinson and Dean Barker has been very obvious through this entire campaign so far. They're not going to let you out of their sight.
We know it's quick, but this American Magic boat has come out of the gates and really shown they are in for this game.
Could be a dial down here, ladies and gentlemen.
Yeah, I've got him.
Coming behind us is 5.
Coming up now.
That's the only option though, Andy.
So in the end, Emirates Team New Zealand decided to hold course, no dial down. Typically there you dial down the port tack boat to increase your lead. Oh, soft in that corner, isn't it?
Well, you've got to sort this out.
Voice of Dean Barker not happy. Not happy at all, is he? We've got to sort this out.
So another example of one small error in these big AC75 falling monohulls can cost you distance and the result.
Boats are going very similar speeds around this race course, and I guess what the teams will be doing now is they'll be collecting the data. They'll be looking at their boat around the track. They'll be trying to work out, okay, all they can probably really do at this point is time the deltas between the 2 boats and think, if only we didn't have that error.
American Magic for the final time at the top gate, chasing Emirates Team New Zealand after splashing down earlier in the race. It has cost them dearly. Emirates Team New Zealand do the job on American Magic. Now all they have to do is beat Luna Rossa Prada Pirelli in the final race, and the World Series is theirs.
Oh, nice effort, boys. It's just very frustrating. 4, 3, 2, 1. Pick it up here.
Today's racing will determine who faces who in tomorrow's sudden death Christmas race. Let's head to the start box. It's Ineos Team UK against American Magic.
5 legs of racing. American Magic need this win to pressure Emirates Team New Zealand to get a result against Luna Rossa in the last race. Here we go.
No problem on him. 2, 1, mix him up, mix him up.
It's interesting that Giles Scott was steering the boat in that pre-start.
This is the umpires, GBR, you still have a penalty.
Don't worry about that, Richard. It'll come off soon enough, mate.
That's got to be frustrating when you already know that the penalty's just going to disappear pretty much the moment you do your first tack. They're struggling to foil. They're almost foiling. No, I don't think they're going to take off there. And you can see their speed, 15 knots. They still have the penalty.
Yep, thanks,
but
GBR. Penalty
that's
clear.
going to be clear. Yeah, there you go. Penalty clear now.
Oh, it's hard to watch. You know, I mean, we're all well aware of tens of thousands of man-hours of design, of blood, sweat and tears to get to this point. It's really difficult to watch. And, you know, Ineos have a lot to do.
Okay, small building 3. On the boxes, 20.
We were speculating, and that's our job. We were speculating at the beginning of the broadcast as this lighter air may not be to their liking, but they don't even have their biggest jib on right now. And we saw them hang right in there with Emirates Team New Zealand in that last race, except for one small error. And they obviously look good in this race.
5 on the box. South. Okay, crossing him. I'm ready.
Okay, 2, 1, 4 down and turning.
Overdrive.
American Magic will win race number 11 of the Prada America's Cup World Series, and their points tally will have them tied, and it's going to come down to the last race.
Now let's cross to the last race of the day. Luna Rossa Prada Pirelli team against Emirates Team New Zealand.
He's going to attack. He's going to attack.
Here comes a dial down. Watch this. Jimmy Spithill's going to hunt right at him and not let them tack. There he goes. Back up and start the race. So well done by Spithill there. That was so classic.
Can I keep saying it? But Peter Burling is not in any way at all nailing any of these starts. He's putting himself in bad positions and letting the challengers just dominate him.
It's getting lighter.
Touchdown Prada, is it?
No, they're okay, but it is getting lighter.
Just a little touch, and they're extending up this upwind, extending to 240 meters.
Luna Rossa Prada Pirelli round the gate first, the top gate, leg 1 of 6 completed.
Look at that, Luna Rossa Prada Pirelli have made that jibe. That's probably the most important part now, is that they can make the jibe stick and just get down the track where it seems to be windier at the bottom. Luna Rossa jibe, and
are they down?
Off the foils. So it's a takeoff competition now. Who can get the thing up and foiling again?
Emirates Team New Zealand are back up on the foils. And look at that. Coming in hunting. Emirates Team New Zealand take the lead in race 12. It's a race they need to win to secure the Prada America's Cup World Series.
Oh, see, they jibed up there in the upper corner, and then they used the entire race course to try to build off of it.
It's all change again. I hope you can hear me. Emirates Team New Zealand off the foils. A bad tack. It's all on.
Thank you, Shirley.
Spot on, Shirley. Look at that lead. It's come down again. Race on. Emirates Team New Zealand with a marginal lead on Luna Rossa Prada Pirelli.
Why are they not tacking? What's going on here?
Setting
Luna
up
Rossa
for
have got a split. This could be a big moment in this race.
But it will be Emirates Team New Zealand to get the gate first and head on down towards the finish. But we're not done with yet. 18 seconds the difference. That's all the lead was.
So jibing on the lay line. If they get this lay line and nail the jibe, they're coming into the finish on starboard tack with full right of way as well.
How close it has been, but what a way to finish the Prada America's Cup World Series. Emirates Team New Zealand cross the line and win the World Series against Luna Rossa Prada Pirelli and take top seeding for the Christmas race tomorrow.
Now just carry on straight. Just foil out this way a little bit.
Yeah, a few nervous moments there at the top mark. Wind really got down to, you know, in the sort of 6 knot region, and yeah, we fell off the foils, but yeah, awesome effort to get going again by the lads, and then yeah, managed to keep it going for the rest of the race, so all good. But it has been an epic day's racing. It took a little while to get going with, oh yeah, we got some champagne going on here, so jump on.
Yep, go for it.
So the world gets its first taste of AC75 racing, and New Zealand gets its first taste of victory, taking out the Prada 36th America's Cup World Series. However, there will be no time to celebrate or savor the victory because all 4 teams will be back on the water tomorrow for the Christmas race. The Prada 36th America's Cup World Series is over, and it's given each team a chance to test the waters.
There's probably 5 or 6 key areas that you've got to nail and get right to get the best out of these boats.
Don't come off your foil.
We're obviously lacking in a couple of those areas.
And they look as smooth as silk.
We're looking forward to, you know, another day of racing, because this will be the last time we get to race until, yeah, it starts to count in January.
Here comes a dial down. Watch this. Jimmy Spithill's going to hunt right at him and not let them tack.
We've got a long history of racing each other in this game. Yeah, I can't wait.
They have one more day of actual competing before they go off on the win again.
Nice work, fellas.
Yeah, today we knew we pretty much had to go out there and win both races to try and win it, and you know that's the same way we approach every day.
Emirates Team New Zealand won the World Series. The champagne may have flowed yesterday, but today is a reset. A single day of sudden death racing with the first ever Prada Christmas race. Nau mai, haere mai, and welcome to Auckland, New Zealand, which has turned on another beautiful day. Fingers crossed the weather gods play ball and deliver stronger winds. It's a massive day for defender Emirates Team New Zealand, as it's the last chance they get to test themselves against the challengers. Today, as winner of the World Series and #1 seed, the Kiwis will face off against 4th-ranked Ineos Team UK in the first sudden death semi-final. Semi #2 will be Luna Rossa Prada Pirelli team against American Magic. The 2 winners will meet in the Christmas race final. First up, it's Emirates Team New Zealand against Ineos Team UK.
Clocks tick down to 0. It is race on. Both yachts struggling to get across the start line.
Well, both boats obviously very late there. Ben Ainsley got caught too low in the start box and didn't even lay the leeward end of the line, and now it looks like this tack, they've fallen off the foils.
Guys, we couldn't have really done much other than that.
And now you can see the lead's already stretched out to 500 metres after one tack in the race.
The package on this boat, the package of hydro and aero and systems, is clearly working better than the package on board the British boat. It's that simple.
This is the umpires, GBR. You have a second penalty for boundary violation.
These guys get some boundary penalties there.
Shirley, I've never seen a boat just ignore the outside edge of the racecourse like this before. Have you?
Kenny, they're not actually making any real progress. They're basically just mowing the same bit of lawn over and over again. I think they need maybe 19 or 20 knots of boat speed to finally get going, and they're searching and searching and searching and not going anywhere. I think Ben Ainsley's doing pretty well to keep his cool.
There's a danger of getting lapped here right now because the other boat just isn't getting out of the water.
This is the race committee. We are posting a course change, shortening to finish after leg 4 at the leeward gate.
Would you ever think about a jibe out here, Pete?
I think your tech's not much worse at that.
I think we'd still jibe okay on this, but you're cool.
Penultimate gate entry by Emirates Team New Zealand has seen them splash down.
I think they're just going to try to get through this gate manually and as a displacement boat. They need to build on to the long side of the track, of this skinny track. One thing that's interesting is Ineos might have found its condition right now. This sounds very sarcastic, but they've been quicker in displacement mode than New Zealand. Just saying. Too far?
American Magic, this is the race committee letting you know that your start will be postponed. The new time will be advised after the finish of race 1.
American Magic copy. Thanks, Mel.
It's just worth noting that these races do have a 45-minute limit. We've just gone past the 30-minute mark. We are of the understanding that race number 2, the second sudden death semi-final between Luna Rossa, Prada Pirelli and American Magic will be delayed.
I think we've got ages. Unless it's 45 from the start, then we need to finish within 15 minutes from now.
It'll be all of that to get there, I think.
Surprised they're not. Maybe they think they're going to make it. They just carry on like this.
We're going to pick them up here. Full starboard. They're not going to cross us. They're not across. No cross.
We're going to see a dial-up.
Down the boundary there.
That's Ben and Giles having a chat about they're going to dial him down here on starboard.
This is like the good old days, boys. We're going to have a cup of tea and think about it. Oh, what are we going to do?
They have to stay about. Oh, they're setting up. Here they come.
Ben's got him lined up with that bright orange pole. It looks like he's going to take his transom.
That'd be one way to get rid of the defender.
Boundary, boys. After you, lads.
Emirates Team New Zealand bonding.
Tell you what, I'm glad I got the shorts on today. Yeah. Let me be blown a valve.
That's a great look at the foils, isn't it?
The near straight line of Emirates Team New Zealand, and then the antehedral of the Brits. That just shows that little shape difference. By the way, not a chance they're finishing this race on time.
You think?
Not a chance.
Here comes the time limit expiration of 45 minutes. There it is.
I got flat. Got my little canoe on thing.
Race Yachts. This is the race committee. We have reached the time limit and will be terminating this race. We plan to resail this race after race 2. Stand by for further information.
Let's go on board Emirates Team New Zealand. Blair, that looked like a lot of fun.
Yeah, well, to begin with, it was all good, but yeah, it dropped off the wind right at the last top gate, and unfortunately, we had to low ride the whole last downwind and finish 100 metres before the time limit. So yeah, a bit gutted not to finish it off, but some good lessons all in all.
So Ben, looking forward to that cup of tea?
It's one of those days. It's obviously a little bit light out here. It's a bit of a struggle, and suddenly a struggle for us up that first upwind leg. So we're just trying some different ideas to get the boat going, but yeah, it's tough. I mean, the only fun part for us was probably the displacement race back downwind with the Kiwis, and yeah, a bit of old school sailing.
So that looks very much like Ineos Team UK may have called it a day. They may know something that we do not know. 6 p.m. cut-off time. No racing by 6 p.m. And the Christmas race is done and dusted with 3/4 of a race won done.
That was the last opportunity for all 4 teams to race against each other. But as every sailor knows, you can't control the weather.
It's been no secret that, we've tried to design a boat that can go across a wind range, and, I think like Ian said, we were just above that wind range when the race started. For us, it's obviously a big challenge to sail these boats in the lighter air, and, there's also a time limit. I'd prefer to be trying to sail around a racetrack and then bouncing up against a time limit than sitting tied up against a chase and nice breeze.
Yeah, I think we should lower the wind limit to 4, so it will be easier for Ian as well, and we just go in displacement.
Next.
Why?
No.
And the fact that the racing is as close as it is so quickly in the first generation of a boat is pretty impressive. And, it speaks volumes to the design teams and to the engineers and the build teams behind the sailors that are out on the water, because they are incredible pieces of equipment. So I think from a American Magic perspective, it's nice to feel like we haven't done a lot of things out in the corner, and that the boat is reasonably competitive.
I think we've got to spend the next 2 or 3 weeks making some big changes to the setup, and clearly, as I keep saying, there's sort of issues with our performance in the downspeed sections, and we're obviously trying to evaluate that, work out quite what's causing that, and then rectify it. And we haven't got long, in the scheme of things. Making some of these modifications, depending how serious they are, can take the boat out of action for weeks. So we've got to measure up just what sort of performance game we think we can make versus time off the water, and get ourselves in a position to be competitive.
So the Prada 36th America's Cup World Series and Christmas race are over. The Wind Grinch may have stolen the Christmas race, but there's plenty of action to come in the new year. The Prada Cup gets underway in January, and then the battle for the Prada 36th America's Cup gets underway on the 6th of March.
Workforce. One, here we go.
Today's America's Cup Racing is brought to you by Prada.